This is the Lotto Solista 203. Great football boots, terrible name. Like, seriously, just dumb. Today's video is brought to you by the brand new G-Form Pro S Clash shin guards. A shin guard made entirely from their patented RPT foam, which means that the shin guard is super flexible, forming to the shape of your leg the second that you put them on, but it hardens immediately upon impact, providing what is actually some pretty solid protection. They weigh just 47 grams in a size large, include a set of shin guard sleeves, mold perfectly around anybody's shins, are NOC SAE approved, and cost only $29.99. If you're somebody that finds wearing shin guards very uncomfortable, these are the shin guards for you because they'll legitimately fit anybody. So if you're interested in some for yourself, there'll be a link down below in the description that'll take you to G-Form's website, where these are available in sizes small through extra large for $29.99. So if you're interested in some, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Lotto is a football boot brand that's been around for a long time, and I would say they are most famously known for their introduction of laceless football boots back in 2006, and just recently in the form of the Lotto Solista Gravity 100, or those words in some order. They released a laceless boot once again that is in a lot of ways kind of a copy of the Adidas Predator 19+, but I talked about that in a different video. What you probably didn't know is they actually made a laced variation of that boot that is a lot less of a Predator copy, and quite frankly, one of the best knitted upper football boots on the market. It is the Lotto Solista 203 that bears a retail price on sale at least of about 112 British pounds, which is the equivalent of about 144 US dollars. It's one of those football boots that I was excited to try out, but I didn't want to get my hopes up because I had it in the back of my head that it was probably going to be somewhat disappointing. Luckily, it's not really disappointing at all, and it's actually surprisingly good, especially considering the price, where most top-end knitted upper football boots to this quality standard are going to be upwards of $200. So the fact that you can get these for less than 150 is really, really impressive. So in this video, I want to go over all the details. I want to compare it to some other boots on the market because it definitely does have some visual design similarities that I'm sure you've already pointed out in the comments. We're also going to take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you want to learn everything there is to know, please stick around and watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, they're available at one place on sale, only in Europe, for, like I said, about 144 US dollars. So if you're interested in some for yourself, you can click the little pop-up in the corner of the screen or the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find the appropriate buy it now link. As most boots do, these come in a box. This one in particular reads Lotto on the front and pretty much every single side. And I want to give you guys a quick look at the label because I thought it was kind of interesting. You have the name of the boot, obviously the size with all the conversions, and an interesting little sketch of the boot. As for the boots themselves, like the laceless variation, this does feature a fully knitted upper, although unlike the laceless model, these do in fact have laces, and you can see the knitted upper that you find through the entire forefoot and midfoot area just continues across the top of the foot, rather than having a more, I guess, complex elasticated knitted material like you will find on that laceless variant. So you have the combination of a knitted upper as well as what they're calling a PU transparent foil on the surface, which is basically fancy talk for plastic. The knitted upper itself actually feels really, really good. You can see it does have that same kind of ribbed texturing that runs the length of the boot that I would kind of equate or compare to the speed rib texturing that we saw on the Flyknit upper of the Superfly 5 a couple of years ago, although this feels nothing like that upper if I'm being completely honest. The material is very, very thin. The texturing is not something that you really notice on the ball, although it is noticeable to the touch. And then on the inside, it's reinforced with this kind of like microfiber, almost synthetic suede type liner, a little bit of extra foam padding in there as well. But for the most part, you really do feel the knitted aspect of this boot. It feels like a pair of socks with some laces to hold your foot in place, which is something that I really, really like. Unlike so many modern football boots where there's maybe just a little bit too much going on, this has a very pure sensation to it. It's not overly complex, and maybe it's not the most responsive boot in the world because of how soft they've left this knitted upper, but what it loses or lacks in responsiveness, it makes up for in regards to overall comfort, because I really find this to be one of the most comfortable football boots out of the box that money can buy right now. So the end result in terms of feel on the ball is a very thin upper with a slight amount of padding to it, kind of typical of what you'll find from other knitted uppers out there on the market. I would say this compares most closely to the prime knit upper found on the current Predator series, but of course this does feature a lacing system running down the middle of what is a one-piece construction to the upper. What is a unique and interesting design choice is that they have kind of made for a slightly shallower lacing system, leaving a little bit more of the forefoot kind of completely free of any obstruction, which again does take away a little bit from the tightness and responsiveness through this area of the foot. The boot as a whole having a wider than expected fit, which some people will love, some people will not like. And I think with this design, especially given the cut at the rear of the boot, it is very reminiscent of the X series from Adidas. So I guess you could say that the laceless model is kind of a little bit of a copy of the Predator, and the laced variation, although it's a little bit of a stretch to say this, is more along the lines of what you're getting from the X series, but with a knitted upper. Of course, the laces do run directly down the middle using a dual lace hole setup because of that one-piece construction that they've gone with. And then moving to the rear, it has an extension piece at the front, a little bit of an extension piece at the back that kind of curls away like the S-curve that we've seen on previous generation X boots from the Adidas brand. And then internally, you'll find a really soft synthetic microfiber suede material, a decent amount of padding, and the overall fit and lockdown is quite good. The insole is fully removable and does have this very soft kind of synthetic microfiber material on the surface, and it's made from a single layer of this fairly dense black foam. Pretty standard as far as insoles go, but it definitely gets the job done. Moving to the base of the boot, you won't find anything new here. This is the same sole plate and stud pattern that we've seen on previous Solista iterations, even the, what's it called? The Maestro series, which you guys probably have seen on my channel because I think I made a video on those as well. Also very underrated football boots, but it's kind of a variation of the Adidas Sprint frame. Mizuno has done something like this with the Neo series. Every brand, for the most part, has done something along the lines of a plastic sole plate, reinforcement through the midfoot with this kind of X frame that they've gone for. Even has a little bit of an X frame reinforcement in between the heel studs, an external plastic heel counter that's fully rounded off, and it does have their signature punto flex through the forefoot, which is basically an exaggerated flex groove that it's hard to say that it actually does anything at all. Nonetheless, the sole plate feels quite good. And as far as the stud pattern is concerned, it is a fairly, I would say, traditional layout. You have some more aggressive bladed support studs here in the forefoot, but as a whole, the stud pattern works quite good. I think it's very viable for use on artificial grass if that's something that you need to do. It's not too clingy at all, and the studs aren't too long. And as a whole, it's a really solid layout that I really don't have many complaints about. Which brings us to the weight, and given the fact that this is more or less a speed boot, at least that's what I would consider it to be, you would hope that it's quite light. In a size 9.5 US, you can see that the boots weigh in at 7.2 ounces, the equivalent of 205 grams, which is roughly about the same weight as an Adidas X 19.1, which I would say is kind of the closest comparison to this particular product, meaning that from a weight standpoint, it's on par with its competitors. So I've swapped out the stock laces, which obviously match the gray color of the boots, but they're this really weird kind of hard ribbon material. It's the only way I can describe it. Not a huge fan because they crinkle up very, very easily. I've changed them for some Orange Punch reflective SR40 replacement laces, which match all of the orange bits on the upper, make them look a little bit unique, plus they just feel a lot better than the stock one. So if you're looking to change up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way, the way to do that, or the place to visit, is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, these boots feel extremely comfortable. It is one of those boots that legitimately will not require any break-in time at all. It's just a matter of getting used to how they fit and feel on feet. And what I like so much about this upper is, one, it's knitted, but two, it actually feels like a knitted upper. I think if you were to compare something like this to the Mercurial Vapor 13 Elite, which is a great pair of boots in so many different ways, the upper is knitted, yes, but it has so much structure to it because of all the other things that are happening that it does take away from the pure sock-like sensation that knitted uppers are supposed to provide in the first place. So while this might not be as responsive as a pair of Mercurial Vapors, from a comfort standpoint, they just feel very natural on feet, which is something that I'm personally a big fan of. The lacing system definitely does its part in providing adequate lockdown through the midfoot, the forefoot, as well as the heel. The fit in the heel is quite good as well. I like the way that it's cut in general, and this sole plate is fairly underrated. It feels quite good underfoot, nice and solid. As far as width is concerned, these definitely have some decent width to them all the way through, to where if you did have wider feet, I think that these will fit you quite comfortably. If you had really narrow feet, they might be on the wider side, but in general, I think they will fit most people very comfortably. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Regular viewers of this channel know that I love to point out gimmicks and just useless technologies that so many brands tend to put in their new boots in hopes of driving sales. But the Lotto Solista 203, as dumb as the name is one of those boots that is hard for me to criticize based on the fact that they haven't actually done anything cheap or gimmicky at all. Especially given the fact that the quality is on par with pretty much any high-end model from all the big brands, but costs a fraction of the price, nearly $100 less than a pair of X19.1s, which I would say is the closest competitor to this. Now, if we are comparing those two boots directly, I think that the X19.1 is ultimately the better performer in regards to maybe fitting a little bit tighter and having a little bit more structure to the upper, leading to better overall responsiveness. I also kind of prefer that sole plate and stud pattern, but this comes very, very close in all of those categories, but gives you what I think is a higher quality feeling upper. The speed mesh versus this knitted material, I just feel like this feels a little bit more premium. I think it's a little bit more comfortable overall. And given the choice, if I'm being honest, as much as I love the X19.1, I would say it's my current favorite speed boot to actually wear. I would prefer the Solista 203. Such a stupid name. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in some of these for yourself, they're available in the firm ground variation that I have here, as well as the soft ground variation. Link down below, that's gonna take you to the review page on my website, where everything that's available is linked there. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for weekly videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear, and make sure you hit that bell notification so you do get notified when that next new video goes live. All my social media information can be found down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.